Hi guys, it's Miss Weems. Um, Having a moment here. It's been some minutes since I've done this. Okay. I just wanted to go over some quick notes with you before today's assignment. First of all, I miss you guys. I hope you're being safe and careful. And let's get into some information about psych. Okay, so we're going to talk about classical conditioning today. Okay, so classical conditioning is a way that we learn, and it's probably happened to you a bunch of times and you haven't even realized it's happened. Okay, so but first we got to get into some terms. So a stimulus is something that produces a reaction or a response. Okay, and a stimulus can be anything. So, for example, a song could be a stimulus because it produces the reaction of triggering a memory, or a stimulus could be shutting your hand in a car door because it produces the reaction of cursing or yelling or crying or whatever your reaction may be. So, conditioning is the type of learning that involves creating a connection between a stimulus and a response. So, my example would be think of a favorite food of yours, okay? It's your favorite food. And if doing this makes your mouth water, that's a conditioned response because you're salivating, your body's ready to eat it. And that is specifically classical conditioning. So I have a picture of these burgers over here because I look at that and my mouth just waters. It wants a Red Robin bonsai burger. And I know I like it. And because I know I like it, my body automatically starts producing saliva because it wants to eat it. Okay. So, classical conditioning specifically is learning where stimulus, for example, in this situation, the thought of food, calls the response forward of salivating, and that response is usually connected to a different stimulus, real food. Okay, but because my body has made that connection so close that it can now be triggered by the response of just thinking about food. Okay, because the two stimuli have been associated with one another. Because usually when you think about food, you go and get it. Okay, so your unconditioned stimulus is whatever naturally triggers the response. It's automatic, you don't think about it. So, real food. Okay, your body's natural response to seeing real food is to drool, salivate, get ready to eat it. Okay, so these two, the unconditioned stimulus and the unconditioned response, are natural. You do not learn these, they naturally happen. This one naturally causes this reaction. Okay, and your conditioned response is usually either the same or very closely connected to the unconditioned response, and it's one that you've learned. Okay, so drooling at the memory of food. Okay, and your stimulus is one that didn't naturally cause this reaction, but now it does. Your body has learned that that is a good stimulus. So let's give the example. Okay, Ivan Pavlov was a very famous psychologist, and he wanted to study classical conditioning, and he wanted to prove that you could get a dog to drool at anything that the dog associated with food. So what he would do is he would ring a bell, which elicited no reaction whatsoever from the dog. But then he showed the dog food, and he wouldn't let the dog get to it. So what happens when the dog sees food but can't get to it is it starts to drool. Okay? And what he started doing was he would repeatedly ring the bell, and then a split second later, he'd show the dog food. So that is the conditioning. The neutral stimulus normally caused no reaction whatsoever would be the bell. And he'd keep ringing the bell, show the dog food. Ring the bell, show the dog food. And it would happen very closely together. And what happened was eventually you get the conditioned stimulus of the bell. The dog now associates the bell with food. So even though there's no food present, you could ring the bell and the dog would still have the response of drooling. Okay? So that's classical conditioning. Other types of classical conditioning that have probably happened to you that you've never realized, one is taste aversion, which is if you've ever eaten something and it made you sick, like really, really sick, so you've never eaten it again, that's taste aversion. So usually this is something that happens just once, and it was such a strong reaction that you cannot eat it anymore. So for example, I don't eat McDonald's because it gave me food poisoning. The food poisoning only happened one time, but it doesn't matter. I will not eat McDonald's. Okay. Extinction occurs when your conditioned stimulus is no longer connected to your unconditioning. So if I kept ringing that bell for over and over and over and over and over again, and I never gave the dog food, that connection between the bell and getting food is going to go away. And that's called extinction. Okay, because it's not being rewarded. I'm not rewarding the behavior. Okay. Now, well, I'm not rewarding. I'm not continuing the behavior. That's what I should say. Continuing. Spontaneous recovery would be, though, let's say a couple months go by, and then all of a sudden I start ringing the bell and giving the dog food again. It would very quickly remember the conditioning and pick up the behavior again. Okay, so we're going to do, I'm going to show you guys, this is what your classwork is going to be. So what happens is I give you a scenario and there's a drop-down box and you have to choose. So I'm going to do the first one with you, okay? So when Mia gets back to the dormitory after jogging, okay, he likes to take a quick shower before going to class. One morning, while taking a shower, he hears someone flushing a nearby toilet. Suddenly, extremely hot water comes rushing out of the shower head, and Mia experiences excruciating pain. After muttering a few obscenities, he continues showering. A few minutes later, Mia hears another toilet flush, and he leaps out of the shower. So what they want is the unconditioned stimulus. They want the thing that naturally caused the reaction. So the way I do these is I go back and I look for the reaction. Okay? So, okay, excruciating pain. What caused the excruciating pain? Hot water coming out of the shower head. So I'm going to look down at my drop-down menu. Hot water. Here we go. Okay, let's check the next one. Same story. Okay, but now it's asking for the unconditioned response. So what naturally was the response to that hot water coming out of the shower head? Pain. So let's look at my drop-down menu. Pain is an option, so I'm picking pain. Okay. Same story, but now they want the conditioned stimulus. Okay, this is hard. So they want to know what is your learned response. So, or what have you learned is going to cause the pain or a fear of pain. Okay, so if I go back here, what is his reaction? Now he doesn't have pain again, so it's not the exact same in this scenario, but he jumps out of the shower. That's the response. So what caused him to jump out of the shower? Hearing a toilet flush. Okay, so that's my stimulus because it caused the behavior. So flushing of a toilet. Okay, and what is my response to hearing a toilet flush? Jumped out of the shower. Okay, so I just did the first one with you, and yes, this is your classwork. So if you actually watch this video all the way through, you just got the answer to the first 4 questions of your classwork. Okay, guys, I hope you're staying safe. Your other assignment for this week is a Flipgrid video because I want to try out Flipgrid later on, but I need you to be able to prove that you can do it at home. So I will post that, and I hope you guys are being safe, and miss you guys. Bye.